I started working at the local supermarket's bakery department right after I turned 16. My parents had been pushing me to get a job to learn some responsibility, and since I've always loved the smell of fresh bread and pastries, the bakery section seemed perfect. It wasn't the most exciting job in the world, but I genuinely enjoyed it, especially on Thursdays. You see, our store was located just down the street from a special education school that teaches life skills to teenagers and young adults with developmental disabilities. Every Thursday afternoon, groups of students would come in to practice shopping independently. That's how I met this really sweet guy who became my favorite customer. He would always come to the bakery section to buy two donuts, one chocolate for himself and one strawberry for his sister. He was so polite and his smile was so genuine that I started setting aside two donuts just for him, knowing he'd be disappointed if we ran out before he arrived. One Thursday, we were nearly sold out of donuts when he came in. Luckily, there was exactly one chocolate and one strawberry left in the display case. As usual, he approached the counter with his gentle smile. I greeted him and asked if he wanted his usual order. He happily confirmed that he wanted one chocolate and one strawberry donut. I carefully packed the donuts in a paper bag and handed them to him. He was just walking away, clutching his bag happily, when this older woman seemingly materialized out of nowhere. She started screaming at him about how selfish he was for taking the last two donuts. Before anyone could react, she snatched the bag right out of his hands. Then she did something unforgivable. She called him the R word. I saw his face crumple, and tears started welling up in his eyes. Without hesitation, I rushed around the counter and brought him into the bakery department, letting him sit down on one of our stools. I was just about to get him some water when both my department manager and store manager walked in. They must have heard the commotion. I quickly explained to them what had happened, how this woman had grabbed his donuts and called him a horrible word, and how he was our regular Thursday customer who always bought donuts for himself and his sister. The store manager's face turned red. I've been working there for months, and I'd never seen him angry before. He was always this calm, composed person who seemed like nothing could ruffle his feathers. In an eerily quiet voice, he asked me where the woman was. You could feel the fury radiating off him. I pointed toward the woman who was still standing near the bakery section, actually eating one of the stolen donuts. The store manager then instructed me to take him to the break room for water and told my department manager to find his teacher or supervisor. I led the still shaking young man to our break room, but I really wished I could have seen what happened next. According to my co-workers in the deli department, our store manager absolutely tore into her. Apparently, he started by demanding she pay for the donuts she stole, then told her that she was permanently banned from the store. When she tried to argue, he threatened to call the police and have her charged with theft and harassment. While this was happening, my department manager had found his teacher, who had witnessed part of the incident. She was furious and insisted on filing a formal complaint against the woman. In the end, we made sure he got his shopping for free that day, plus a gift card for future visits. The woman was escorted out by security, screaming about how unfair it all was. The police were called and she actually got cited for theft and harassment of a vulnerable adult. Every Thursday after that, we made absolutely sure to have his chocolate and strawberry donuts ready. And honestly, watching our store manager stand up for him like that gave me the biggest crush, even though I knew he was happily married with kids. I'm a 16-year-old female, and this is my story. It all started one day when me and my friends decided to go bowling on the weekend. I asked my mom for permission, and she agreed but asked if I could take my little sister, she's 12, with me since she doesn't have many friends. I didn't mind at all. We have a great relationship and she's always well behaved. Sunday night came around and we met up at the bowling alley. We got some drinks, just juices and smoothies, changed into our bowling shoes, and started playing. My sister isn't strong enough to properly throw the bowling ball, but she was trying her best. We were all cheering her on. It was actually really cute watching her determined attempts. About 15 minutes into our game, it was my sister's turn again. She went to pick a ball and found this pink one that fit her tiny hands perfectly. She was so excited since pink is her favorite color. We were all encouraging her to throw it, but before she could, this woman with bleached blonde hair suddenly appeared behind her and grabbed the ball right out of her hands. Everyone went quiet for a moment, trying to process what just happened. I immediately called out to her, demanding to know what she was doing. The woman glared at me like I'd just committed a crime and yelled that it was her baby's ball, asking how dare we take it from him. I asked her what she meant by her baby's ball and if she had brought it from home. She explained that no, they didn't own the ball, but while they were here, her son liked to play with this specific pink one. I pointed out how ridiculous it was that she was claiming a ball they didn't even own, and told her she could have hurt my little sister. She got even more worked up, asking what was wrong with me and ranting about how her child was going to be a world champion one day. And it all started with this pink ball being his lucky charm and favorite color. I told her no, explaining that she needed to give the ball back so my sister could take her turn and her kid could use it if it came up in their lane afterward. She refused to hand it over, but I wasn't about to let this slide. If she'd asked nicely, things might have been different, but grabbing the ball from my sister's hands crossed a line. I went into full protective mode, grabbed the ball, and managed to pull it away from her. That's when she completely lost it and tried to charge at me. My friends quickly stepped between us to block her. They were trying to calm things down since the situation was getting out of hand. When she saw she couldn't get through and noticed bowling alley employees running toward us, she did something unbelievable. She grabbed another ball and locked eyes with me. Then she started screaming about how, if I thought my little brat of a sister was more important than her boy, she would show her support. Then she threw the ball directly at my sister. It hit my friend's leg first, but still managed to strike my sister in the chest. Everyone froze in shock. When I saw my sister fall to the ground, I completely lost it. While I was helping my sister, people started calling emergency services. Security guards rushed over and detained the woman, though some of my friends had already gotten to her first after seeing what she did to my sister. One guard stayed with us to help my sister, who was having trouble breathing. The paramedics arrived quickly and suspected she might have a broken rib. They took her to the hospital in an ambulance, and I rode with her. My friend, who got hit in the leg, went in another ambulance. I called our mom on the way, and she met us at the hospital. Thankfully, the scans showed no broken ribs, but my sister had a nasty bruise from the impact. The woman was charged with multiple offenses, assault on a minor, attempted murder, plus extra charges for attacking my friend and the security guards during her arrest. She got 15 years in prison, and honestly, I don't know or care what happened to her kid. He's probably better off without her anyway. My sister recovered physically but still struggles with anxiety about going out in public. To help her feel safer, we enrolled her in self-defense classes, and she's slowly getting more confident. The bowling alley gave her a lifetime free pass, which was nice, but it took her almost a year before she felt ready to use it. I heard Karen was trying to appeal her sentence, claiming she was protecting her child's dreams. The appeal was denied and she got an additional year for wasting the court's time. Serves her right. I've worked in the hospitality industry for about 8 years now, and surprisingly, I've only had one memorable encounter with an entitled person. This happened a few years ago when I was working at this hotel that used to be part of a major chain but got bought out and became privately owned. Let me tell you, the management was a complete mess. They went through 9 different general managers in just 2 years. At the time, I was working in the hotel's restaurant as the expo person and backup cook, pretty much second in command in the kitchen, which meant whenever the head chef wasn't around, I ran the show. I actually ended up quitting that job later when they wouldn't let me attend my grandpa's funeral. But that's a whole other story. Our hotel had this really good promotion going on where guests could add about $20 per night to their stay and get breakfast included. It was actually a great deal. You'd get 2 entrees and 2 drinks, which would normally cost around $50 at our place. This morning started pretty smoothly. We had a steady flow of customers, nothing too crazy, which was unusual for our busy season. That peaceful morning didn't last long though. Suddenly, we heard this ungodly screaming coming from the lobby. The screaming was coming from this woman, let's call her Karen, who was absolutely losing it at our front desk worker. I could hear the whole thing from the restaurant. Karen was screaming at the top of her lungs, demanding to speak to our general manager immediately. Our front desk worker tried to calm her down, saying she'd contact the manager but needed to know what the problem was first. Now, about our general manager, she was this friend of the owner who basically did nothing all day. She lived in one of the hotel rooms and wouldn't start working until 10:30 a.m. She always said to call her room if there was an emergency. But good luck with that. Karen kept screaming for a good 10 minutes before our front desk worker could even get a word in. When she finally managed to speak, she tried again to get Karen to explain what was wrong. That's when Karen unleashed her grand complaint. Apparently, the water in her shower was too hot and the pressure was too hard, which she claimed was giving her migraines. She was demanding that her entire week-long stay be comped because her vacation was completely ruined. It took another 15 minutes of arguing before our general manager finally came down. After hearing Karen out, she simply told her that they couldn't comp her stay, and she would need to pay in full. Karen stormed off from the lobby and made a beeline straight to our restaurant. She probably thought she'd have better luck getting free stuff from us. She walked right up to the counter and demanded free breakfast as compensation for her suffering. What she didn't know was that she had already prepaid for breakfast with her room package. Our head waitress tried explaining this to her multiple times, but Karen just kept being nasty, complaining about horrible service and insisting she better not see any charges on her bill. When we gave her the receipt showing the breakfast was already included in her prepaid package, she completely lost it. She stormed back to the front desk for round two. The front desk worker had to threaten to call the police if she didn't calm down. Karen responded by threatening to destroy our reputation with one-star reviews on every website she could find. Our general manager finally stepped in and told her she needed to leave immediately or they'd call the police, and reminded her that she still had to pay her bill in full. When she was leaving, she was literally screaming like a banshee. I mean, she was so loud that people were coming out of their rooms to see what was happening. One guest even started recording her with their phone, which made her even more furious. When she finally got to her car, she noticed someone had called a police officer who was just pulling into the parking lot. She jumped into her car so fast you'd think it was on fire. As she peeled out of the parking lot, the officer actually gave her a ticket for reckless driving right at the exit. Later that day, we found out from other guests that she'd been complaining about literally everything during her stay. The pillows were too soft, the air conditioning was too cold, the TV had too many channels, and my personal favorite, the complimentary cookies at the front desk were too chocolatey. We all had a good laugh about it at the end of our shifts. The video of her meltdown actually ended up on social media, and it had quite a few views. I guess she got her 15 minutes of fame, just not in the way she wanted. I used to be a promising soccer player in my youth, playing until I was 17 when a bad knee injury crushed my dreams of going pro. Over the years, I let myself go and reached 325 pounds at my heaviest. That was my wake-up call. I started eating healthy and exercising, eventually joining a recreational 6 versus 6 soccer league, where my friends had a team. Being a big guy on the soccer field, around 295 pounds at this point, had its advantages. Most opponents wouldn't mark me as striker since they didn't expect someone my size to be skilled. Their mistake. I'd often score or dribble past defenders, earning respect from other players and even the league coordinators. Everything was going great until our fourth game of the winter season. We were playing against a new team, a bunch of guys who looked like they belonged in a fighting ring rather than a soccer field. As usual, they left me unmarked. I scored 2 easy goals in the first few minutes. That's when one of them, let's call him the jerk, started marking me. He tried everything to get the ball from me and failed miserably. At one point, I did a body feint that left him falling on his back. I crossed the ball, and we scored our 3rd goal. That's when he came up to me asking mockingly if I thought I was having fun, calling me a loser. I called him out for talking trash at a recreational soccer game. He tried to play it off, claiming he was just asking a simple question about my enjoyment. When I confirmed that I was indeed having fun and asked if he was too, he ominously replied that he would have his fun soon. Minutes later, I received the ball with him behind me. Suddenly, I felt my planted foot twist, heard a loud pop, and found myself on the ground. The pain was excruciating. This jerk had taken an illegal slide tackle that tore my ankle ligament under my body weight. He stood over me and gloated that now he had his fun. The doctor diagnosed a second-degree tear in my ankle's strongest ligament. 8 weeks minimum recovery time. I filed an incident report with the league and kept all my medical receipts. The injury brought back memories of my old knee injury, but I was determined not to spiral into depression again. During those 9 weeks of recovery, I planned my revenge carefully. I made it back for the last game of the season, against his team. My friend on the team helped me set up the perfect payback. I played scared at first, getting rid of the ball quickly whenever the jerk came near. He got cocky, following me closely with a smug look on his face. We waited for the right moment during a corner kicks. After 3 failed attempts, we got our chance. My friend shouted out that the cross was coming and I raised my hand to signal I was ready. I knew the jerk would try his dirty trick again. When my friend kicked the perfect cross, I planted my feet and waited for the jerk's shove from behind. As he went for the header, I leaned back and launched my 290-pound body toward him. The back of my head met his face with a satisfying crunch. We fell, and I made sure my elbow caught his eyebrow on the way down. I immediately called for a first aid kit, playing the concerned teammate. I acted helpful by checking his injuries. His nose was broken and pointing sideways, and his eyebrow was cut open. I made a show of announcing that his nose appeared to be broken. He tried to sue me, but the league coordinators sided with me. They saw him as the aggressor who got hurt by his own dirty tactics. They even noted how I was the first to provide first aid. When his lawsuit failed, I sent him my own legal letter about my ankle injury from 9 weeks before. I had everything documented: medical reports, physiotherapy bills, and the league's incident report proving his illegal tackle was deliberate. The league banned him permanently. He had to reimburse my $2,300 in medical costs. Best of all, we won that game with me scoring 3 goals, then beat them again in the playoffs to win the league championship. I'm still losing weight and playing soccer, just without any jerks trying to end my season.